Hello, IML students. Today we are going to talk about support, resistance, and trend lines and how to draw them. Before we get started, here's a little bit about myself. My name is Adeze Duncan, representing iMarkets Live. Some of you may know me from Forex 101 on IML TV. Also, I was an educator for 10 years, and now I'm here educating you on the facts and methods of Forex. In order to get started on this journey, you need to remember one thing and one thing only. I am a student, always. This is very important for you to remember and to remind yourself of often. You will hear me use this phrase frequently as a reminder that you are a student that is learning a skill that will pay you for the rest of your life. Make sure that you take your time and learn what you need to learn. Pace yourself. Do not compare yourself to anyone else's progress. Always keep a winning mind frame and you will do very well in this industry. Upon finishing this video, you should have a very good understanding of the following questions. Read through them quietly to yourself. As you are taking notes, make sure to pause this video in order to answer these questions. Before we talk about what support and resistance is, let's review. Remember, we talked about Japanese candlesticks, and if you don't remember, go back and watch the video titled Price Action, which was one that was before this one. Okay, so let's just review real quick. Remember, you have a Japanese candlestick. That's what this little structure is on the screen. The little skinny, pointy, prickly looking thing, that is called a wick, also known as a shadow or exhaustion. And then you've got the body of the candle. All right. So those wicks, remember, we talked in price action, they tell us a lot of information. They tell us a lot of information of what the market is indicating. Is it trying to go in a certain direction? It gives you a lot of information about which direction it's looking at going. Okay. You remember that we talked about the OHLC chart. That's something that you want to make sure you recall. So if you do not remember, please go back and watch the video titled Price Action. Now let's talk about resistance. All right. Resistance is one of the first things that we'll talk about. Resistance is like a ceiling. So if you see in this picture, you see how that wick was approaching the line, but it was not trying to go above the line. See, resistance is kind of like a ceiling where price struggles to get above it. So you see in this picture, here's another really good example, a lifelike picture of resistance. You see how all of those wicks or how even price action came up to that area, that line, and had a hard time going through it. So when I say struggle, I mean that, price was on its way up there. Price makes moves up or down or sideways. But in this situation, price was making its move upwards and then it stalls. So that stalling point is what causes people to draw resistance lines. See, resistance is not like some specific or some special, magic line that everybody knows exactly where it is. Most people are all looking in similar places. So your resistance line, let's say I draw it where you see it right here on the screen, and maybe you drew it like a hair above that, and maybe somebody else on the other side of the globe drew it a hair below. Nonetheless, we all see how price is struggling in that region. And so that is why we draw a resistance line there. That resistance line is showing, it's just a symbol that this is an area where price is seemingly struggling. Okay, does that make sense? Now, much like resistance, you have support. Support is like resistance, except it's like a floor, or it is a support. So in the same way you stand on the ground or on the floor and the floor holds you up, price is held up in this area. So no, obviously it's not literal. Price does not actually hold, the line is not actually holding price up, but you can see how price made its way down to that area, and you see how the wick is touching that line or near that line. That line is more of a region than it is an actual hardcore line. All right. But support is like a floor. It holds price up. So here again is another picture of the actual market with an actual support line. So remember what I was talking about with resistance. That line is not a magical line that, everybody all across the world has the same line in the same area. It is just a guesstimation of where I see price has been turning around. You see price has been turning around. She and he sees price turning around. So it's more of like a guesstimation than anything. It's a region where price has come down and gone up. Now, the reason why you want to draw these kinds of lines is because you're creating